Okay, welcome to our second video on solving quadratic equations by isolating. So here's a quadratic equation, which it's in standard form, so you might try factoring. I don't think it's, well, there's a common factor, but you could try factoring, into two, trinomial factoring, but I don't know if that's going to work. So we'll try completing the square. So completing the square, remember you group the first terms, common factor the first number in front of the a value. So this will become plus 4x. Negative 2 divided by negative 8 is 4. Now we'll, inside the bracket, add and subtract half of this term squared. So half of 4 squared is 4. Now you need to remove this term from the bracket, so you'll distribute the first number just to that last term. So you just have the first three terms. So negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. Oh, sorry, I missed the x there. Now we'll factor this bracket here. So negative 8 minus 30, negative 22. And now, so vertex form. So that was our goal. Now in order to isolate, we need to get rid of this 22. So we'll add 22 to both sides. Zero plus 22 is 22. Now we want to deal with the negative 2. So we'll divide by negative 2. Now something interesting is going to happen. Negative 22 divided by negative 2 is negative 11. Now you need to take the square root of both sides. And plus or minus. Well, over here that's fine. Square root, that'd be x plus 2. But what does that equal? Well, you have a square root of a negative number. Square root of a negative. Well, we can't take the square root of a negative number. Right? There's no way a number multiplied by itself will give you a negative number. So this is not possible. Not possible. You could put it into your calculator to give you an error, but that should make sense, that you can't take the square root of a negative number. So what does that say about the original equation, right? The original equation was negative 2x squared negative 8x minus 30 equals 0. What does that say about this equation? It says this has no roots. No roots. And in the future you'll learn that it actually has no what we call real roots. But for now, just saying, it has no roots. There's no numbers that we could put into this equation. There's no x values you could put in here to make this equal to 0. It's not possible. Just as a visual explanation, let's look at the equation that we got in Vertex Form. So when we converted it to Vertex Form, we had this equation. Well, let's think about not this equation, but the relation, if you, instead of making it equal to 0, you made it equal to y. Oops. So just as a quick sketch, the vertex of this would be -2, -22. So if you wanted to very roughly sketch that, like -2 is right here somewhere, and -22 is way down here. So here's our vertex. But notice that it's opening down because this is a negative, so we have a parabola facing down. Well, recall that this, if we wanted to find the x-intercepts, you would let y equals 0, so you put 0 into there, which is basically just this equation up here. So you'd be trying to solve this equation. Well, where does this cross the x-axis? There aren't any x-intercepts. There are none. So visually it makes sense that you can't solve this equation because there is no x-intercepts. It never crosses the x-axis. So that's why, that's sort of a visual representation of why you can't solve this equation.